Hi there, hi, this is Jackson. I am your coding teacher at JTech Learning. So tonight I'm going to teach you about, I just want to help you get to understand the basic concept in coding and in technology, everything that you need to know about technology. And to get started, first thing first, you need to understand what a computer is and the basic functionality of a computer, how it works. So a computer works by accepting input, that is data, through input devices, processes this data, and then gives you an output or some result. So some of the input devices are a microphone. For instance, right now I'm using these headphones, and they are helping to feed the computer with my voice data, so that you're able, after now the processing, you're able to hear it, and you'll be able to hear through the speakers. And then the processing part is done using the software part, because a computer has two main components, that is hardware, the things, the parts that you can touch, and the software. Now the instruction which tells the computer how and what exactly to do when processing and working with the data that you're inputting. So now coding comes in when now we start dealing with the software part, because software part is the software component is the set of instruction that the computer execute. Okay, and now coding is now writing those instructions for the computer to follow or process. So another term for coding is programming. You say programming is that process of writing a set of instruction for the computer to follow using a programming language. And then now, what is a programming language? And how does the computer get to understand the programming language? So basically, computers do not understand direct human language like the way I'm talking in English. They understand the machine language, which is in binary format, zeros and one. Most people know zeros and one, even though they don't really understand coding and programming, but they must have heard of binary ones and zeros. So that's the lowest language that a computer understands. So the programming language, you write the instruction or the lines of code using the human language, that is English. But now, every programming language has an implementation that allows it to translate the code you are writing to the machine language, so that the computer is able to follow the instruction that you've written. Okay, and in some languages, this implementation is called a compiler, and others it is called an interpreter. For instance, Python uses an interpreter, Java uses a compiler. They do the same thing, basically helping the computer understand whatever you're writing. In the later lessons, I'll be sharing you now the screenshot and the code, a sample of code, so that you're able to see what I'm talking about in the event that you've never written a code before. But basically, now when you're coding, you follow set of instruction. You mean, sorry, when you're coding, you follow some rules, and that's what we call syntax. Every programming language has its own syntax. So when you're coming to learn coding, you're actually coming to learn the syntax of that language. Okay, how do you implement this something? And now that I'm talking about this, implementing something in using a coding language, and there are those we call the basic or the fundamental concept of programming, which every computer programming language has to implement for it to be able to serve the purpose, to be able to create um, the program or the application. So first thing first is the data type. Like I've just said, computer does not understand direct human language. So they need to be able to know how to represent text, how to represent images, different from how to represent numbers. So that's the format in which the data is represented, is what we call data type. So every programming language has a way of implementing a data type. There are different data types. There is the float, there is integers, there is strings. So where the string is for text, numbers, letters, I mean, sorry, the string is for letters and characters, while the integer is for numbers. Float is for decimal numbers. Okay. Then the other concept that every programming language has to implement is a variable. Now, when a program is running in the computer memory, those information, those that data the computer is working with or interacting with at that particular instance, all those information needs to be held somewhere in the memory. So variables provide a way of labeling this information. Let's say it's a basic registering people, maybe say it's just for collecting data: name, age, gender, your county. So that name, age, gender, county, those information needs to be they will be stored in the memory, and a way of labeling them, we use the variables now. So where you have a variable for name, you have a variable age, you'll have a variable gender, all that. The next concept is the conditional statement of the logic. That is, if this is this, do this, else if do something else. That's logic, so that the computer program is able to make a decision based on a condition, do certain things based on that specified condition. And then the next term is the loops, LOOPS. Loops allows the computer to be able to repeat set of instruction or block of code. For instance, how a printer works. A printer will keep printing as long as you still have papers on the printer, and as long as you still have pages to be printed. So it will keep repeating. That's one command of print. Okay, the command or the instruction in that case is the print. So it will keep repeating print, print, print until that condition. The condition is you have papers, and the other one you have pages to be printed. So if there are more normal pages, then it will stop. Okay, if there are more pages but the papers on the printer are depleted, then it will tell you you need to add the papers on the printer. Okay. The other thing is, let's say you are sending, you are registering 10 people. You want to be able to register 10 people only. That's again another scenario where you'll be able to repeat the code, those instruction for registering, or being able to repeat typing your password 3 times. Okay, that's a loops. And the other concept which is very critical and every programming language has to implement is the functions. Function is a way of now organizing related lines of code. And then that block of organized lines of code has a specific functionality or role that is supposed to perform. For instance, take an example of a banking application. You cannot use the button for withdrawing to send money. Okay, so that button for withdrawing is implementing a function for withdraw cash. The other one for send money is implementing a function for sending money. And that function, those set of code which are helping you achieve that purpose of sending money, they are put together and then given a name, and it's a function. So in when you're learning a language, let's say Python, I want to know how do I implement a function in Python? How do I implement a function in Java? Okay, the concept is the same, but the way it's done, now the syntax of the languages, it's what the difference is. And then the next concept is a class. Class now is it now allows you, it's another concept which allows you to implement real world entities and objects. For example, a person, okay, where this object has characteristics and the things that that object does. For example, a person talks, a person connect with others, a person has friends, a person, those are the things that a person can do, a person can hit. And then the characteristics of a person is name, gender, age. Every person has a name, gender, the place of birth, their mother, the parents, all that. Contact, phone number, all those. Those are the characteristics, or the, in other terms, attributes, which defines that object. Let's say it's a bank. A bank has a branch, account number, account name, balance, all those. It's if it's a school has a name, head teacher's name, it has the location, the number of students, the number of teachers, all that. And what can a school do? A school enrolls, a school can hire teachers, a school can hire support staff. So those are the methods now. When you're implementing now, we call them method, but they are what that object can do. So that's the classes. Classes, they allows you to be able to implement a real world objects. And now with the help of classes, we're able to make complex computer programs and applications where there are multiple relationships, just like in a real world we have relationship between a person, their friends, the school they attended, the place of work, all that. A bank account is has a relationship with the relationship, sorry, that one, I'll come to that one. The example is not coming straightforward, it's not offered. Yes, so but I hope you've understood those the main concepts of programming, which that you need to understand first even before you start learning those different languages out there. So if I'm learning Java, I am learning actually how to implement data type, how to implement a variable, how to implement a loop, how to implement logic, that is if else, elif, else if, all those. I'm learning how to implement a function, a class, and some other advanced levels is object inheritance, all that. But I'm not going to that level at the moment. So that's it for today. Please let me know if this brief short video was helpful to you, so that I can be able to make more of this and teach you technology slowly by slowly. Thank you. See you later. Bye bye.